Greetings and salutations, everybody, and welcome back to Fantasy Warfare, where we have some of the most tremendous dream matches throughout the history of professional wrestling from all sorts of different rosters, all different time frames. And hey, it's been a minute since we've been here on World Championship Wreckage. You know, life happens, but it's so great to be back here on World Championship Wreckage's YouTube channel. And we have got a very special episode today. As you can see, I'm joined by the fathers of this channel, if you will. We've got Dad Hat and the Will Gray. And gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on first and foremost. How are you doing this fine day, evening, whatever?
Good. Tired.
I'm naturally competitive, and with Dad Hat, this is perfect for us. So I'm excited for this.
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be a really fun episode because on this week's episode of Fantasy Warfare, we're going to take two rosters that are often compared to each other. We're going to be talking about AEW going up against World Championship Wrestling. I know you gentlemen are excited for this. I know, Dad Hat, you kind of got a little beef when people compare the two companies, and I can totally understand that. But today we're going to put that to rest, I think, with some incredible shows you gentlemen and some cards you've dreamt up. I know this is going to be, as one Vince McMahon would say, some good shit, pal. So that being said, I guess we should just get right into it. But as a quick reminder for those of you who don't remember the rules of Fantasy Warfare. So pretty much Will and Dad Hat are going to be creating their dream fantasy pay-per-view. That's right, we're calling them pay-per-views. They're not premium live events because this is too good shit to give away on TV, folks. You're going to have to pay for this. But they're going to come up with their dream pay-per-view events. There's going to be a total of 8 matches, although after discussion, we're going to kind of flip the script just for this episode because there's just so much to get to. I think we got a total of 9 matches and a pre-show match, I believe.
Correct.
Yes. It's going to be loaded. You're going to get more bang for your buck on this episode, folks. But nonetheless, it's going to be that total amount of matches. You're allowed at least 2 gimmick matches, and by gimmick matches we mean like a steel cage, a ladder, etc., etc. One match involving traditional tag teams. So we're not talking like tag teams put together, but an actual tag team that actively works. And usually we have the rule set of having an involving a women's match. It just depends on kind of the roster. I mean, obviously AEW is loaded with women, but WCW, what do we got? Medusa,
3.
Daphne,
and Bull Nakano. That's all you got.
And woman.
Oh, and woman.
Oh, don't forget about woman. So this is going to be interesting to see nonetheless. I've talked enough. Which one of you gentlemen would like to go first?
Well, before we start, I'm gonna throw out a surprise from the very beginning to, I think, shock Will. Will, I don't have Sting involved in a single match on my card.
What?
Sting is not on my card in either capacity from AEW or WCW.
That's so crazy because he's on both rosters. Wow.
I don't have Sting once.
Nope. I was like, I'm going to shock him from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in shock too, and I mean Sting's your guy too, so this is going to be very, very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I do have to ask this first, gentlemen. Do you have names for your pay-per-views?
Yeah, I have a name and a tagline.
Ooh.
Oh, you go first then.
The pay-per-view is called Time Machine Tussle.
Oh, I like it.
And the tagline is a wrestling show beyond time and space.
Oh, okay.
He wins. Mine was just Big Boys Throwdown.
Big Boys Throwdown. But your tagline could be, "This is where we're going to truly find out where the big boys play."
Yeah.
I forgot to throw this out there, but I'm curious. Like, do you guys think about like what venue you would host your shows at?
The Cow Palace.
Okay.
Or the MGM Grand, one of the two.
I would probably say the Omni in Atlanta, the Mid-South Coliseum, or the Chase in St. Louis, Missouri.
Those are all excellent venues. Well, Will, since you went first to unveil your pay-per-view name, Dad Hat, would you like to go first with your pre-show matchup for Big Boys Throwdown?
Sure. So this was not a match that I knew that I needed to see until I don't even know what made me think of it, but I was like, as soon as it popped in my head, I was like, this needs to happen. This needs to happen. And this is just the pre-show match. My pre-show match is Orange Cassidy against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
What? Oh my god, I love that. That is like you just talking that into existence is like I didn't think I needed that in my life, but now I do. Like, how did you come up with that one?
I was looking at the rosters, like more AEW than WCW, and WCW was hard because we've got several years, decades worth of people you can pull from. And so I was looking at AEW and I was just looking at the roster and I was like, who do I really want represented here? There's a lot. I'm trying to use the people that have been featured the most since AEW's existence, at least. And Cassidy, I was just like, who am I going to put against Cassidy? He's done such a good things with that international title or whatever it's called now, the Intercontinental, whatever they decided to change it to. And I didn't know who I was going to put him against. And it actually wasn't. Actually, I know what I came up with. Steamboat. Will and I were texting, and he was like, he sent me a GIF of like, this is going to be you. And he said something about, he's like, I have one match that's going to be my Savage Steamboat. And I was like, Cassidy Steamboat. Yes, that's what I needed in my life right there. So Will gave me the inspiration for that match.
I can see. Wow. I'm telling you what, already I'm like buying the pay-per-view no matter what you got the rest of the way because you've convinced me I got to see this. Will, what do you got in your pre-show matchup?
When I started my show, my big plan was to book a WCW pay-per-view as super indie-rific as fucking possible. So my opening pre-show match has no story whatsoever other than the fact that these two guys are going to go in there and you're going to go, okay, you get 15 minutes in the pre-show, blow the roof off to where every match after this one, you're like, holy shit, how did this make the pre-show but not the main card? Chris Kanyon versus Malachi Black.
Oh, son of a bitch. The back and forth in that. Oh my god. It just like, you talk about Kanyon, the innovator of offense, and like all the amount of offense that freaking Malachi Black. Dude. I don't know, Dad Hat. Like, I love OC and Steamboat, but damn, Malachi Black against these are both phenomenal pre-show matches. Holy shit!
Yeah.
I think these may be the best pre-show matches we've had, like on any of these shows we've done so far, and that's saying something. I guess I get so caught up in this, guys. I always forget to ask, like at the beginning, like who goes over. So who goes over in Orange Cassidy and Steamboat?
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm old school. I can't go against Steamboat.
Yeah, that's respect. What about for Malachi and Kanyon?
Malachi will win with a black mass, and the reason why is because Kanyon is the quintessential worker, and he'll have no problems putting somebody as young as Black over without question. So Kanyon would put Malachi over and make him look like $1 million doing it.
Dude, I'm here for that. Let me throw this out at you. Like, how about like he gets the mist in the face or whatever at some point, and then it makes him and refers him to go back to the Mortis character, and he joins the wouldn't that be? I'm here.
He ends up in the House of Black. He ends up leaving WCW and ends up. Yeah. See? Yeah.
Let's do it.
Story writes itself, gentlemen.
Hell yeah.
Already off. TK.
Give us the money now, Papa Khan. All right, Will, I'm going to keep it to you. What is your opening contest for Time Machine Tussle?
So in my brain, again, I was thinking, how would WCW book a pay-per-view and make it to where it would blend with that super indie to where you have to have matches where they can't have big stories because you're not going to have like months of build with two promotions. So Eric always started pay-per-views. It was either the first or the second match, always had some sort of luchador showcase. So I have a Fatal 4-Way opening the card for a luchador showcase with Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, Rey Fenix, and El Hijo del Vikingo.
Oh, man. Dude. Oh, my God. Like, could you imagine, like, Eddie in his prime against El Hijo del Vikingo?
I was thinking like 97 Ray and Eddie, like Halloween Havoc.
my
You know what I'm talking
God.
about? Versus Phoenix and
Yes.
Vikingo right now. Like, God. And no necessary gimmicks, just a straight fatal 4-way luchador match. Nothing fancy because you know they would blow the. And for them to start it, you'd be like, okay, Canyon and Malachi, do what you need to do to start the show. Make everybody on the main card need to step it up. And then those 4 guys come out of the curtain, and you're like, oh shit, what's next?
Yeah.
You know?
That's insane. That is, Jesus. You don't get much more of a better, like, 4 luchadors, I think, in my opinion, than those 4 guys in a 4-way. So who goes over, Will?
In this situation, I would probably say, looking at the prime of it, Eddie would lie, cheat, and steal his way into the victory.
I like it. Latino Heat. LWO represent. Okay, Dad Hat, you got some. This is gonna be hard to follow, but I know you can do it. What's your opening contest for Big Boys Throwdown?
So, Will and I have the same mindset. We've talked about it on several episodes of Wreckage. Like, of course, they're going to start with like a cruiserweight. But I wanted some cruiserweight that was more than just necessarily high flying. These 2 can both do it, but they can be some heavy hitters. My opening contest is going to be Eddie Guerrero versus Penta.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I don't think Penta is used as well as he should be in AEW. I think he should be showcased far more, be on television far more. And him and Eddie, I just think, like, I was thinking the same thing. 97, 98, that Eddie Guerrero versus Penta, and I mean, it can be down and dirty, it can be violent, it can be like, you know, it's 97 Eddie, just like Will said. He's gonna lie, cheat, and steal. He's gonna pull that underhanded heel tactic to pull the victory here.
Nice. God, man, these are both killer openers, man. Like, I love the 4-way, the chaos of that, but I also love the fact, like, that is the perfect one-on-one matchup for, like, Eddie from the AEW roster. Yeah, it doesn't get much better than Eddie against Penta. Damn, already we are off to a pretty good start here. All right, Dad Hat, I'm going to keep it with you, my friend. What in the world how are we going to keep this momentum on Big Boys Throwdown? What's going on after Eddie and Penta?
So it's a tag match, but it's not my traditional, like, I mean, you kind of 2 tag teams, but one side of it weren't always a tag team. We're going to feature the House of Black, Malachi Black, and Brody King versus Raven and Perry Saturn.
Oh, okay.
Great picks. I was really fighting to put Raven on my my card, and I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He was on my honorable mentions. If I had one more pre-show match, it would have been Raven.
Well, for me, I was sitting there and I'm like, how do I not have Perry Saturn on here? How do I not have Saturn? Like, as much as we've talked about Saturn, been like he was one of the, and like even when he got to WWE, we're like, you know, how did he not just skyrocket? And I was like, put him back with Raven against House of Black. I think it would be cool, interesting storytelling, awesome promos.
Well, really, you got like a Flock versus House of Black kind of theme.
Kind of, yeah.
Which is awesome. Let me ask you this: is this Perry Saturn like pre or like when he's in the Flock, or Perry Saturn after he's out of the Flock?
I'd say after the Flock. He was more dominant after the Flock. But I think House of Black takes this one. They're more of a cohesive unit. I think you see cracks between Saturn and Raven. You know, they never really could get along, you know, in the Flock anyway. And then House of Black is a solid, cohesive unit. And, you know, 1, 2, 3.
House always wins.
Yep.
House always wins.
He sees that, my friend. Okay, Will, I'm going to come to you now, my friend. What is following that amazing 4-way matchup?
Well, in my head, you have to have, after you killer opening the 4-way, You got to have a good, hard-hitting, traditional wrestling match that can tell a story, so it gives your audience a little bit of breathing room there. And I said, this is where you'd put the TV title on the line, and it would be like best of 7 Booker T, okay, against the international champion Orange Cassidy, who made my card, Dad Hat. But think about the comedy shtick that Orange Cassidy would bring, and Booker T would be able to pull him into the match by being like, I ain't gonna fall for that shit, sucker. You know what I mean? Like the back and forth in the natural storytelling of how they work, but they would still be cohesive. With Booker T putting his title on the line, this would be one of those where, again, I would say it, Orange Cassidy will get over by being able to do all of his things, do all this stuff, kind of push Booker T to the limit, but Booker T will retain his TV title.
Yeah.
So
I love it. It's kind of like, it makes me go back to, like, in real life. You think a couple years ago at Forbidden Door with Orange Cassidy against Will Ospreay, where it was just like, you know, Will, we all know and love Will and like his style. It's like, what, going in against Orange Cassidy? That's gonna be a joke. And that's still a match we talk about to this day.
exactly. That's kind of the same vibe you would get I feel like you would get if Booker T and Orange Cassidy went head to head. You would get that, like, what is this Joker doing? This guy's a clown, but then that clown would end up pushing you to the limit for 15 or 20 minutes. Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I love it. So I'm assuming, and Booker, you said Booker goes over, right?
Booker will retain, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And man, that's another one too. God, Booker in that era too. God, was there anybody better than Booker T? Damn, he was so good.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I like it. You're cooking with gas here, my friend. All right, so after the TV title, I'm going to keep it with you, Will. Let's keep this going here on the Time Machine Tussle. What's following? Already an incredible 2 matches.
Match number 3, I was going to say might be my bathroom break match, because this is just one of those, but it's not really a bathroom break match, because when I tell you who's in it, you're going to be like, holy shit, there's no way you'd leave the arena. But there's really no story to be told here except for the 2 characters in the ring. And that's Darby Allin versus Vampiro. It's like the antithesis of Sting. You know what I mean? Like the Crow Sting coming in and working with Darby. It would be like Vampiro would be like the 180 of that. Like the bad guy of Crow Sting, like coming in, trying to dethrone Darby. Everything that Sting has built, Vampiro's here to tear back down. Like, I thought it would be a good... This is also the one match that I added. After I booked my 8, my pre-show Dad Hat had add a match. This, and then I had Raven versus, and it was a question mark. Because once we get through, I'll kind of explain towards the end where my gimmick matches went in, because I wanted Raven to be in a gimmick match. But you'll understand why he didn't make the cut there.
Okay. Damn, I like this as a bonus match. Darby against Vampiro.
And Darby would go over.
Okay.
He would win. He would kind of have that good versus evil thing, you know, like to help his mentor, like Sting just retires, like Vampiro comes back to tear him down. So Darby would win in Sting's honor because Sting's retired enough. He's not on a card.
Okay. And I like it too. You could go from the perspective of like demons and is like from the past and the closet of Sting and the Vampiro and that bitter rivalry. Maybe we throw in there the fact that Vampiro set him on fire. Or we may not even want to touch that because, well, that was like a fart in church. That's how well that went over. But anyway. All right. Dad Hat, coming back to you, brother.
So
Match 3.
when I knew that it was AEW versus WCW, this was actually the first match I thought of. First one that came to mind. It's also my first gimmick match. It's also hilarious, though, because we're saying it in the exact same place. It's Darby versus Vampiro.
No way.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
wow. But it's a gimmick match.
It's a buried alive match.
Dude, I almost did a casket match.
I thought casket, but I'm like, no, let's take it up a level. Buried alive match.
Okay.
Great match, man.
Great minds think alike, but you're
In the same position, too. That's weird.
That's crazy.
Uncanny.
Swear to God. I sent this to maybe 2 or 3 people ahead of time, and I was like, how fucked is Dad Hat? And they were like, dude, that's going to be tough to beat. It's so funny to me that you put that in that, like, on God, Dad Hat had no idea.
That was my first
And in the exact spot.
My first two matches I thought of. It was when I was going down to Disney. It was Vampiro and Darby, and I said Buried Alive match and the Eddie Penta match. Those were my first two that I thought of, and I was like, they're staying on my card.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dude,
That's
that's
a match, bro.
amazing. Yeah, I hate to say it, Will, but I think he won update with that Buried Alive concept.
Yeah,
So-
adding that on top. Yeah, dude.
So I guess the question here is, Dad, who's getting buried alive?
I think it has to be Vampiro. I think it kind of has to. As much as I don't want it to be, I think Darby has to scoot by with a win here. And I don't know how it would happen because, like, you know, it tends to be in most the Buried Alive matches we've seen. It's, you know, someone comes and hits somebody over the head with a shovel, and there's multiple people that were able to get the Undertaker in the grave, and they were all burying the sand or the dirt on top of them. But I just feel like if there's of the two, if someone can, you know, come back from beyond the grave, Vampiro is the only one you can.
What if we do a moment here where, like, Vampiro appears as one, he throws Darby into the pit, lights go out, lights come back on, and Sting's there, and it's just like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's awesome that we did it in the exact same position.
Yes.
And that was I put it there. Like, I had the whole card booked, and I was like, shit, I got to add Vampiro and Darby in here. And I put it after the WCW TV title match because I was like, all right, I was thinking about the build, and I was like, we start building up from here. And I was like, Vampiro Darby. That's a good building spot right there.
Hell yeah, man.
Great minds.
That's great.
Bro.
And it's funny,
Great
this
minds.
is the first time it's happened on this show where anybody has had, like, the same match, let alone at the same spot. Like, that is lightning in the bottle right there. So
I mean, Will and I do talk almost daily. So, I mean.
yes, you're like two peas in a pod.
We tried.
All right, let's keep this momentum going, Dad Hat. We're building on this show. It's we're getting to a pretty important point here, almost the halfway point. Knocking on that door. But what's match number 4 for you?
I wanted to feature two wrestlers that I thought would complement each other, and storyline I thought would be amazing. But also, it's two performers that at the time I feel like one is about to become who you can lead your company, and the other one is one that eventually became somebody that led the company. And it's going to be Booker T versus Swerve.
Oh, damn! I like it.
Wow.
Like, same time frame, that TV title, 98, Booker T versus current Swerve right now.
Wow.
Dude. Like, as Booker T would say, shucky ducky quack quack. That is a damn good matchup. God, I don't even know how you score that one too, because there's like both these guys, like you say, Booker in his prime, and then Swerve, what he's doing right now. I mean,
Yeah. I would almost say Swerve pulls this one.
yeah,
That's a tough one, dude.
yeah. Oh, I got it for you. Okay, all right. Let me just suggest this: 20-minute time limit, 19 minutes 59 seconds, the 3 hits, and Swerve picks up the win with a second to spare in the match. That'd be pretty dope.
Yeah,
I love it. Whew. All right, Will. Man, those are some damn good matches. How you gonna top that?
I'm going to say this because I say it all the time and I mean it. Memphis gets over everywhere. Match number 4, Time Machine Tussle. Good, hard-hitting, traditional tag team match. FTR with Tully Blanchard versus the Rock and Roll Express with Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
It was on there. It was on my list. It was on there, and I
think about Cornette. Okay, the run-ins that Rock and Roll and Cornette and Midnight and Cornette had in separate entities and lives and territories against the Horsemen. Okay, so the amount of times, you know, now think of it where Tully's here and a manager, so he's going to be ringside with Cornette during this match. You know what I mean? Like the history between those two and everything.
I do love it.
through Memphis and JCP and CWF and everything, Championship Wrestling of Florida. You think of the history between them, then you put FTR versus Rock and Roll. Literally like what they were in the 80s versus what tag team wrestling is in 2023. I felt like that almost had to be there. And as we were talking about building from Vampiro and Darby, we hit this point where it's just off to the races with the rest of the card. And you know that every match is going to be a banger and could be the main event for your show.
This is like a tag team wrestling enthusiast's wet dream come to life. Like that is FTR versus Rock and Roll Express. It does not get more classically like just my mind's blown right now. Like to me, that's the match. If I like so far, if I'm buying the pay per view, it's like that's why I'm buying it. I gotta. There's a lot of cool stuff on here, but this is the match I gotta see. Yeah. It's FTR against the Rock and Roll. Damn, that's some good. That's a good matchup. Who's going over?
FTR.
FTR. All
right. I feel like FTR will win on discipline and tradition and hard hits, and Tully will be there to prevent Corny from being any kind of distraction or interference. Like that'll be the story they tell us, how Tully keeps Cornette out of the match.
I like it. I love it. Damn, that's good. All right, I'm going to keep it with you, Will. Let's keep this momentum going. What is following that?
Match number 5 is my first gimmick match. Okay. It's a Falls Count Anywhere street fight. And what I wanted to do was, it's AEW, right? You have to have that bloodbath train wreck. Oh my God, those guys are going to kill each other in this match. And I felt like there was nobody better to have in this, because if you're like, you want to have two guys that are going to convince you they're going to kill each other, Cactus Jack and John Moxley.
Son of a bitch. Like, dude, and that, if you think back in the history of wrestling, I mean, remember when Mox was coming out?
I might have a white flag after that one. Like,
that's tough to do, Dad. Shit. But no, if you think back, like, Mox, like, and back in his FCW days, he was trying to, like, bring this feud to, like, real life. They had that confrontation at, like, WrestleMania Access one year or something like that. So.
Correct. He was saying that Foley's way of wrestling was convincing guys on the indies to go out there and kill themselves for hot dogs and handshakes and stuff. And he tried to build a shoot argument into a work on TV, and he almost got it. Foley was just like, I don't have it in me. But I do remember that, yeah.
God, that would have been so good, man. That story writes itself. So, like, you could almost, oh my God, like for one night, like you get Cactus Jack back against. Damn, that's good. Like, yeah, I knew Mox was going to be involved in it, but man, when you said Cactus Jack, it's like, yeah, this is going to be hard for you, Dad Hat. But who's going over in this one, by the way, Will?
I think there's zero questions asked that Cactus Jack would win this match, but it would both look like both men were dead.
Yeah.
And both men would come out of it looking like they lost the fight.
Fair enough, man. Yeah. Whew. Okay, Dad Hat, I'm going to come back to you now. How are you going to top that?
Oh, well, this match does not top that. I know that. I will say that I know this match does not top that in any way, shape, or form. But this is my... I don't know if I would say this is my bathroom break moment, but I just thought this. When I saw these two, like first I had Harlem Heat as part of it, but then I was like, no, I want to use Booker T as an individual, especially once I thought of Swerve, and I was like, I gotta include these. If it's AEW, I have to include this. Who do I put this team up against? And it's gonna be the tag team match with the most colorful ring attire possible. You're getting the Young Bucks versus the Nasty Boys.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That is a matchup I never thought of. I don't think anybody ever would have spoken into existence, but it's here now.
The Young Bucks and the Nasty Boys.
Okay.
I always go to the David Arquette stuff, where he like meets him at the convention and he explains that he's going to be a wrestler, and he's like, hell no, get the f- out of here. Like, and then he comes back a year later after training, and Brian Hobbs is like his best friend. Like,
yeah.
It's funny you say that. David Arquette was almost my pre-show match.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought about putting him on mine. I swear to God.
Yeah.
I was going to put David Arquette in some stupid like sketch comedy match against Excalibur or something.
No, so
Like-
I thought my pre-show was originally going to be Orange Cassidy and David Arquette at first.
Dude, that's a match, man. But yeah, I thought about adding Arquette for fun, but I knew competitively I didn't want to throw away a match for a good laugh because I knew I was going to need all the points I could get.
Same,
even if like I don't even know if there are points, but I was like, I can't let Dad Hat beat me.
You could do you could have him involved in like a run-in or do some comedic sketch backstage or something. There you go. You're good there. Have him go after some jelly rolls like R-Truth did a week ago. But anyways, that's an interesting. Like I said, that's a matchup I never really thought of. I thought for certain you were going to say Young Bucks against the Steiner brothers. I thought that's where it was going.
No, I thought about it.
Steiners would just beat the holy fuck out of them. Like it would just. Yeah. It'd be bad. It'd be bad. Yeah. And that's nothing against the Bucks. I mean, it's the fucking Steiner brothers. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
True. You can't do anything with that.
I love the Steiners, and I do. Like, I grew up with them, but, like, there's something about the Nasty Boys for me in my childhood. Like, they were there always for some reason.
I've always been a huge fan of their work. I love the Nasty Boys. I think they're a highly underrated team, especially if you look at all their accolades and accomplishments that they've done throughout the years. Say what you will about, like, personal life, whatever. Take that out of it. Still, they're a great tag team, I think. But.
Yeah.
So, Young Bucks versus the Nasty Boys. Who is going over, and are you going to make the IWC explode with your decision here?
Oh, the Nasty Boys are going to literally like beat the hell out of these young boys.
Oh, the IW! I could hear the comments now. Like, oh, what are you talking about? The Nasty Boys. Oh my God! You literally. Dad Hat, you literally just made a 15-year-old in his basement cry. He is openly weeping right now because he doesn't even know who the Nasty Boys are.
That's what I was going to say. They don't know who the Nasty Boys are.
But it's like,
do your homework, children.
Young
Do your homework.
I love it, though. I love it. That's good, man. All right. I'm gonna keep with you, Dad Hat. What is following the Bucks and the Nasties?
I think you got to have it's the battle of the people's champions, right? So Diamond Dallas Page was known in WCW. I mean, he was the people's champion before The Rock was the people's champion. Like, he was the man of the people. So you got to include Diamond Dallas Page. And to me, the people's champion right now, and has been in AEW since he's arrived, is Mr. Eddie Kingston.
Oh, damn.
Great match, dude.
DDP,
Okay.
Eddie Kingston.
That's so freaking good. Dude, let him cook. That is damn. And that's another one I didn't even think about. Didn't even cross my mind.
Yeah.
But the story writes itself. You've got like the people's champion against like the guy, blue collar, the guy who representing us, and Eddie Kingston.
And DDP was kind of that way too. I mean, he was very much. I'm just a dude from the Jersey Shore who got my break super late in life. Like I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, dude, that is good. And I thought, did you say DDP was going over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Eddie, but I would. Yeah, I think that would be DDP's to win there. I love both of these matches, Dad Hat. But Will, I'm coming back to you, man. You had a tremendous 2, 4, or 5. What's your 6th match on the card?
Okay, so 6 for me. If Vampiro and Darby, you were like, okay, I didn't go to the bathroom yet. You get through the tag match, that street fight, you're like, oh shit, and then you look at the rest of your card. This will be that other option for you to use the bathroom before you finish the card out, okay? This was my women's match, and this isn't taking away at all what these women are going to do, because what you're going to look at is going to be another kind of David versus Goliath situation. It's timeless Toni Storm putting her AEW women's title against Bull Nakano. And what that's going to be is Bull throwing Tony around like a rag doll for 15 or 20 minutes, and the champion being the underdog to fight back up to get a really unconvincing win. Like, all the way through the match, you thought Bull was going to take the title from her, and then somehow Tony retains. So, WCW retaining the TV title. you have AEW retaining the women's world title.
I mean, it makes sense. Got to keep things in house.
I don't have a women's match on mine just because I was like, WCW is just so limited. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
that's just but if I had used it, it would have been Bull. Like, Bull was like, love Medusa, great, would have done, love Daphne, but it would have been Bull.
Medusa, Britt Baker in a steel cage was going to be my lights out match after the main event. I thought about really pulling a twist and putting a lights out match after the main event, like labeling my 7th match as my main event and then having the 8th match be a light outs cage match, Medusa versus Britt Baker. But I pulled the trigger on I needed a traditional not soft, but like real level wrestling match to kind of chill out because my last 3 matches are going to blow your fucking minds.
Already, no, I'm not putting anything past Will here. Like as we move forward, because mine, I feel like my kind of like WCW. The lower card was a little bit better than the upper card.
Will is bringing the heat in these main events, so you know what? Let's just go ahead. Let's pull the Band-Aid. I need a tease. What's the first of these tremendous? So. Would you even dare advertise it as a triple main event for Time Machine Tussle?
No, in Time Machine Tussle we have 3 labeled matches. We have the Savage Steamboat match, which was my 7th match on the card. We have the semi-main event, and we have the main event.
I like it. So this is the workhorse match. This is going to be the match that people are probably talking about at the water cooler the next day.
This is going to be the match people are talking about for the next 30 years because they're going to go, holy shit. I can't believe this happened. This is unreal. Maybe the best wrestling match technically that's ever happened. And that's Chris Benoit versus Bryan Danielson in an I Quit submission match.
Fuck. Oh my God. Yeah, that is... Damn.
That's my second gimmick match of the night.
All I'm going to say is I see you, and I will raise you here in a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay.
Damn,
Let's see it.
It's just fighting words, and I'm here for it.
Bryan Danielson would go over. It would be one of those he would probably reverse something into something, roll around, shoot, catch, can, done kind of things. You know what I mean? Saying I quit probably wouldn't be an option for either of them, so I would probably see somebody getting choked out.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I wouldn't see either of them saying the words I quit. Golly, that is a match.
That's a good one.
That's a wrestling purist's wet dream. You are Will, you're just appealing to all these different styles of wrestling fans, and I'm telling you, this is a pretty damn good card so far.
This is my resume for somebody to hand me the pencil.
Yeah.
That's a pretty damn good resume. All right, Dad Hat. Let's talk about your match 7 now. Is this going to be the match that you're going to kind of counter Will here, or?
Yeah, I mean, because you're talking about workhorses and people that can deliver, and it's kind of the person who can deliver and has delivered on the big stage numerous times versus someone that was never given the opportunity to shine on that big main event stage. And Will, thank you for this. Yeah, we're going Kenny Omega versus Chris Kanyon.
Oh, shit.
I was this close to doing it, but I put Kanyon on here because of how over we make him on everything we've ever talked about. You know who else? Alex Wright. Because he's on every WCW pay-per-view forever, dude.
Yeah, I thought about it. I'm not going to lie. I thought about Alex.
I love Dust Wonder Kid. Not Berlin, but Dust Wonder Kid. But yes, dude, this is a matchup. I think we've all kind of in our minds fantasy book that it was one of the episodes of World Championship Wreckage. You guys, you kind of had that epiphany about Kanyon and Omega. God, it writes itself. Shit. Okay, who's going over in that one?
So I think this is as good as this match might be. There might be some shenanigans with it. The Young Bucks run down. They're torn here. They're super close.
Relationship with Kanyon, yep.
In relationship with Kenny Omega. One brought him to the dance. The other one they've ridden down the road together with. who do they choose? I think they run in like they're going to do something, and I think it's one of those where literally Canyon is the one that super kicks both of them. He turns around and Kenny catches him in a one-winged angel.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't need you, and I'm going to catch you. I'm the one that taught y'all things. I'm going to catch you before you catch me, and then he gets caught.
This is the only opportunity where you could book something to break the Young Bucks up. They go to the ring, Matt thinks they're stopping Kenny. Nick thinks they're stopping Canyon. They get down there, and they kind of collide as they intersect on the y-axis, and they're like, what the fuck? Because they both thought somebody else, and then Chris and Kenny both realize what's happening, and they realize they're the only two people that could break Matt and Nick up.
That's amazing.
That's
I've never thought about that
story.
That's awesome.
That would be pretty cool. I tell you what I love about this, with the position on the card and the story to be told. I think this is like, okay, on paper, like a non-wrestling traditionalist, they look at this like, Kenny's going against who? And I mean that as no disrespect to Canyon, but I think the whole point of this, the design of this, is to like show the brilliance and the greatness that is Chris Canyon. This is what I see. I see Kenny winning the matchup. I see him immediately, like, shaking his hand afterwards, and walking out and just giving the ring to Canyon. And it's literally a standing ovation. And this man finally gets the due justice that he deserves on this amazing card. That's what I would love to see. Just a flat-out standing ovation for Chris Canyon for delivering one more incredible matchup. That would be dope. Love it.
Yeah, that's a match.
I get goosebumps just thinking about that, man. That's pretty good. All right, Dad Hat, I'm going to keep it with you, buddy. It's time for your semi-main event. What is following this tremendous Kenny Omega Chris Canyon matchup?
So for my semi-main event, it's going to be a match that's already got some storyline linked to it. There's a lot you could do here. And you might think, no, these two don't match up. But the story, the mic work, it's going to be beautiful. We're getting MJF versus the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Oh. Okay.
Your son was my best friend. I've been in the ring with your son. If I can do that to your son, what can I do to you?
Damn. Like, you have literally the greatest guy on the mic, one of the most brilliant, if not the most brilliant mind in pro wrestling, Dusty Rhodes, going against the man who a lot of people say is the best person on the mic today in MJF. Damn, that is a very compelling matchup, and like you're saying, playing off of the relationship between MJF and Cody.
Yep.
Oh God, it once again it writes itself. God, that's good. All right, like who goes over in this one?
I got to give it to MJF. Actually, I got to give it to MJF. I think Dusty would want that. I think Dusty would like it's not about me, baby. It's about them. Like,
well, my children, if you will.
Yeah, if you will.
Best friends with my son, if you will. He's got a bicycle. Sorry.
If you don't know, go find it, kids.
Okay, Will. I'm coming back to you, man. You talked it up. That damn I Quit match was pretty good. Like, what's your semi-main event?
My semi-main event was the first match that I thought of as soon as I found out AEW versus WCW. I said, this will either be my main event or it will be my semi-main event, because this is the match that I felt like no matter the venue you could book it in, if you put this as your main event or semi-main event, there would be an ass every 12 inches. And that is the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus the NWO, Hulk Hogan and the Outsiders. So the Elite versus the NWO.
Okay. The original NWO too at that. Wow.
Yeah, I just realized this. Not only do I not have Sting on this card, I do not have the NWO. My two of my favorite things ever in wrestling I do not have on this card.
Wow. Okay. But hey, it's not a bad thing if Terry's not on your card. But just saying.
Fuck you, Terry.
But fuck you, Terry. The Elite against the original NWO. That is, man, that's an interesting one too. That's one I didn't even think of. Wasn't even cross my brain. I love it though. I totally feel like you're going to put the NWO over, right?
I am. The outsiders are going to be too much for the Young Bucks with experience and size. Hogan is going to do the 5 moves of doom to Omega. Omega will go.
If I made the IWC cry, you just blew it up.
Well, he'll go for the 1-winged angel. Hogan will come out of it. Big boot, leg drop, 1, 2, 3.
You son of a! Oh man, yeah, you literally. Yeah.
Think about he goes up. Hogan 1, 2. He bends down. Hogan comes out of the slide, hits the ropes. Big boot, back up, leg drop, hits it. 1, 2, 3.
Well, he's gonna do the whole Hulk up thing, right?
Yeah,
we're getting all that. Okay, yeah. God.
So that would be my semi. NWO would end up going over, yeah.
But Hulk Hogan and Kenny Omega in the same sentence is something that never crossed my mind.
Not once.
And the fact that Hogan gets the pit, yeah. The Nasty Boys going over the Bucks is nothing compared to this. Like IWC is losing their shit right now. Oh my god! And of course, if anybody's going to kick out of the 1-wing game, I like from a physical perspective. Seriously, Hogan could Hogan seriously take a 1-wing angel? Like, how the fuck is Kenny going to get his big old wrinkly ass up there?
That's what I was thinking. That's why I was like, Hogan's going to look at this production meeting. One, Hogan's not going to take a loss. Hogan's going to be like, that doesn't work for me. Me and my boys are going over. But the thing is, he would let you think he was going to take the 1-winged angel. That's why he would get all the way up on Omega's shoulders to let him go, I'm big enough to do it. And then Hogan would fight out of it to be like, you're big enough to do it, but by God, you're not gonna.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. And of course, we get the finger shake and all that.
Yeah, all of that nonsense.
Wow. All right, man. Well, we have come to the end here of Time Machine Tussle. It has been an incredible card so far, but it is time for your main event. This is why we're all here, Will. What is your main event?
My main event, in my head, I was like, you got to have the world title on the line. So which world title? I said no. Both world titles. Battle of the Champions, winner take all main event. Our scumbag, Maxwell Jacob Freeman, the AEW World's Heavyweight Champion, versus WCW's, if you think about it, in my opinion, you think about WCW's best champion, not named Sting or Hogan.
I know where you're
DDP. MJF versus DDP.
Oh,
even if you only had a week to build, 2 weeks, all you would need is one promo, and those guys would rip each other's to shreds. Then you think about the fact both are baby faces. Okay? So you have to build and fight and get from underneath to the point that one of them finally decides they're going to be dastardly because they both play heels and they both play heels well. Which one of them is going to turn first? Instead, we get a dusty finish. Paige goes to turn on MJF, playing dirty. MJF counters, pulls the diamond ring out, gets the hit on DDP. He's the one that goes over because he was just that much dirtier than Diamond Dallas Page.
I like it.
I have a request, though. Could DDP bust out the Battle Bowl ring?
Yes. See, that could be it. He could go into his trunks for that ring, turn around. MJF ducks it. He pulls out the Dynamite Diamond ring, and that's where he gets the clack for the win.
Love it. I think Dad Hat and I were kind of thinking the same thing. I thought you were going to say Flair.
Yep.
I thought that's where we were going with that.
Yeah.
Which that would be a damn good matchup as well. But I love the fact that you went with DDP because I think it does, like you say, it writes a unique story. You've got these guys who are white meat baby faces, but also known for their dastardly deeds as well.
Yeah.
Like, pretty good stuff, man. That's a pretty loaded show. I like the finish of we're getting a battle of the champions and our scumbag walking out as the AEW and WCW world champion.
It opens the door so we can, Tony Khan has more money than God, so he can obviously afford more than one time machine. So now we get cross promotion work between AEW and WCW every week. Take my fucking money.
Dude. Yes. It like I say, it writes itself, man. Okay, Dad Hat. Can you top that? What is your main event of Big Boys Throwdown?
So I mentioned that I saw you and I would raise you here shortly. This is that moment. So this is my second gimmick match as well. We are doing a fatal 4-way, no disqualification, 60-minute Iron Man match.
Ah, yes. I like it.
And when you think WCW and who has worked more hour Broadways, you got to conclude Flair. Okay. So if we're having a fatal 4-way, we got to have 2 from each side, right? So it's going to be Flair versus Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley versus the Canadian crippler Chris Benoit.
What?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So BCC versus the Horsemen, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
I didn't think of it that way, but yes.
That's wild, dude.
I love the story you could tell. God, man, that just
because that's 2 tag teams, two sets of guys that have worked together in tag team work.
Yeah.
And
in a fatal 4-way.
Could you imagine, guys, how great of a story if WCW would have ever put to pull that? Benoit against Flair, and it's like Benoit is like finally done being like the lackey, if you will, for Flair. Like, okay, old man, it's your time's up. My time is now. Oh man, you can tell that story in this.
Because you could have like, okay, we're allies, we're not allies. Like we're allies, but I'm giving you the shady eye. It's and I was like, if it's a no disqualification 60-minute Iron Man match, it's gonna be bloody. And of course, Flair will bleed at any chance he can to make that white mane turn red.
And
Moxley and Danielson and Benoit, I was like, it will be a hard hitting long hour.
Mox and Flair would just be going back and forth. It's just like, no, I'm bleeding. No, I'm bleeding. Oh my god, it's just like, must be open the hard way, brother. Oh my god, dude, that's a hell of a main event. Like that's solid. That's solid.
I like.
Is there any titles on the line, or just a good old okay?
Just no titles.
I like if we both had Darby Allin and Vampiro in a match against each other, and we both had Benoit and Danielson in a match.
Yeah.
Against each other. Dude, what are the odds that you'll ever do this again? And not only will we have 2 matches that have the exact same people, but 2, like not just 1, but 2 matches that have the exact same lineups. He added the fatal 4-way stipulation, but the Vampiro, Darby Allin, and then Danielson and Benoit. Come on, guys, you can't even make this up.
Yeah. And for me, I was literally I was at dinner and we went to the lovely, establishment, CC's Pizza. Had to get me some macaroni and cheese pizza for dinner.
CC's.
And my oldest was like wanting to go play in the arcade section and everything. So I was watching the little one. My wife went with my older one. I'm like, who wins this match? Like, I'm finalizing my stuff. Like, I'm like, who wins this match? Well, if I upset the IWC with the Young Bucks, if Will blew it up with Kenny Omega taking a pin from Hope from Hogan, I'm just burying and pissing on the grave with this. The winner of this match, I'm sorry, is the best technical wrestler in the history of professional wrestling. It's the Canadian crippler, Chris Benoit.
Wow. And if you look at it, like if we're taking Benoit in his prime in WCW and taking it into that context, man, like this would be that moment as us fans back then wanted for Benoit that he so rightfully deserved at that time frame. And once again, we're talking the past here. We're not talking about like stuff that happened after the fact.
We're not talking even outside. We're not talking outside the ring.
We're not even talking outside the ring. We're
the
talking,
worker and the character, not the person who did those terrible things.
Exactly.
But God, that would have been a tremendous moment.
Yep.
And like you could go with the storyline going forward of like Benoit now kind of becoming like the top guy in the Horsemen, and Flair finally coming to realization like he's not, that limousine riding, jet flying, wheel dealing son of a gun anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe at heart, but yeah. Gentlemen, you brought the heat on this episode of Fantasy Warfare, and I commend you both. These are solid cards, top to bottom. I really don't see any P-break matches. Like I'm gonna have to hold my bladder in or get me like
that was my goal. That was my goal. I wanted you to literally by the end of the match just be like everybody in the arena is like, I gotta go so bad, but I can't wait. The arena just reeks of piss because people just piss themselves off throughout the arena. You ain't cool unless you pee your pants. To quote a wonderful philosopher, Adam Sandler.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I truly love both your opening matches. Both, like, I love the idea of Eddie and Penta one-on-one, and I love that Lucha Libre four-way. The TV title match, Chef's Kiss, that's just so freaking good. But I love Orange Cassidy and Steamboat on the pre-show, too. Booker T and Swerve is a phenomenal matchup. The fact that I've said before, we'll say it again, Darby and Vampiro both on your cards in the same spot is incredible. As much as I would love to see the Bucks and the Nasties, the FTR Rock and Roll is I don't think anybody's going to argue that. Cactus and Mox, son of a bitch. This is hard to choose, guys. Like and I love the idea of the Kenny Canyon matchup and Canyon getting his moment. Your main event, DadHat's phenomenal. MJF and Dusty writes itself. I love the Battle of the Champs in the main event for you, Will. The Elite, the NWO is an interesting one. Damn, this is hard. I feel like looking at this, if I'm being completely honest, like looking at this, like your opening matches, like you guys are like even. I think like your mid card, I give the advantage to Will. And I love the I Quit with Benoit and Danielson, but I'm drawing myself more attracted to the storyline that would be like Benoit going over in that four-way and the whole tie-in with the Flair. You got to make a decision here. And this is a tough one. I almost want to say a tie. Like, do I go with Dusty finish and just say it's a tie?
We draw. And then what we have to do is we have to do a second one, and what we have to do is like AEW versus WWE, but we're only allowed to use pre-2000 WWE workers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
See, if we come to a tie, we'll record a second episode and we'll come up with a second set of like pay-per-view, a second pay-per-view we have to book.
That makes it all the more interesting. God dang, man. Damn, this is hard. It's like I want to take like matches from like Will's show and put him with like matches from Dad, and then it's like yes. God, this is so hard. I am okay. I think I'm going to listen to my heart here because it's always the right thing to do, right?
Listen to your heart.
I just man, this is good. They're both so damn good. But I think I'm finding myself drawn to the stories that you could come out of this particular card. I think that's going to be my final decision on why I'm going with this as the winner. And once again, both of these are phenomenal cards. But maybe you guys are going to call it an upset, but I got to go with Big Boys Throwdown. I think that's our winner here today on Fantasy Warfare. But both was compelling matchups. But like I say, to me, it's the story of like Canyon finally getting his moment in a huge match, and the whole story being told with Benoit and MJF against Dusty. They're both really good, but I got to give a slight edge to you, Dad Hat. But Will, that was a phenomenal card you put together, though.
I'd buy Will's card.
Yeah, I'm buying both of them, and I would even pay for the replays. That's okay. I don't care. I will even pay twice through the shitty Bleacher Report app because they can't fucking get it right the first time. But you know what? Both of these cards are worth it, so you're getting double my money, and I'm okay with that. Well, gentlemen, this was a phenomenal episode of Fantasy Warfare. Kudos to both of you. And as we close here, I mean, we got to do a little plug-a-palooza, am I right? Even though we all kind of know where to find you here on the channel. But nonetheless, Dad Hat, you're the victor. I'll go with you first, my friend.
So, of course, DadHatWrestling everywhere. Instagram, X, TikTok. Behind the scenes here on World Championship Wreckage a lot. In front of the camera on Wreckage with my boy, that way, right there. Wreckage is taking some changes, and now we're not just talking about WCW. We can talk about anything wrestling we damn well want. So there's a lot coming up for the channel. But yeah, World Championship Wreckage on everything as well. Like and subscribe. We're trying to hit... We were originally going to say 300 subscribers by the end of the year. I don't think that's going to happen, but we might be able to hit 2.
Let's go. If you enjoy the great content on the channel, folks, hit that like and subscribe button. It's just easy as that. And, of course, Will, tell us where we can find you, my friend, because you got so much cooking going on in the world of pro wrestling.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say thank you for having me on. This has been an absolute blast. I will put this out in a poll because I'm going to go recount here on this. I think Time Machine Tussle is the, but you know, c'est la vie. It is what it is. I will take my L gracefully because if I'm going to lose to somebody, there's not very many people that I think could outwit me, and Dad Hat is one of them. So if I'm going to lose, at least it's somebody I would not mind losing to.
Hey, we will come back and do another one. And
I think we have to.
I will graciously say yes. I will gladly come and whip your butt one more time.
This was almost like Rocky 1, only like we did get a winner, but like Rocky 2, like, okay, Will, you're Apollo, and you got to come back and get your revenge in the next one, buddy. You got to get that W, brother.
Absolutely. If you're watching this show, you probably know who I am. If you don't, check my link tree at The Will Gray. You'll find everything that I do as far as botch bots and share shots, World Championship Wreckage, Off the Top Media, Rivet City Radio, all of my dirt sheet writing, the Last Word on Sports, the Sportster, pro wrestling stories, all of the nonsense that I get into daily is all there.
There you go. And of course, you can find me here on World Championship Wreckage as part of Fantasy Warfare, and as well as back in the day, which we'll be working on. Trying to get a new episode coming out here very soon, I promise you. Just been hectic and chaotic in life. And of course, you can always catch me over on Cole TV as well. We've got our flagship show, Pro Wrestling 60, where we always cover everything that happens in the world of pro wrestling every week, as well as so many of your other favorite shows. And hey, this Christmas season, we got a very special Christmas week planned on Cole TV. We're going to see all sorts of specials, so stay tuned for that. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much again for joining me on this incredible episode of Fantasy Warfare. And we want to thank you all for watching. And please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Until next time, I'm XLJ the OG along with Dad Hat and the Will Gray. And we'll see you at the matches, folks.